That denial, Dr. Lawrence Long had a brother to die, and he promised his mom that when he became a man he would be a doctor and he would have a hospital for their people. And he did just that. In 1932 he opened the Union Community Hospital, and it went on long after integration and only closed when Dr. Long became incapacitated. His wife is Julia Long, who for many years was professor of mathematics at the University of South Carolina, and their two sons have done rather well. One is an international lawyer in the Mariana Islands, and the other's in the medical profession in South Carolina. And beginning with the sterilizer and going through the refrigerator, these are all out of the Union Community Hospital. Thanks to Mr. Midas Keenan, we not only got these objects, but we got some of the birth records out of that hospital, and they're available for use in our archives. And yes, that is a refrigerator, not an ice box. I'm told that it is probably the most efficient refrigerator because the motor is on the top and the hot air escapes rather than staying inside the cavity and causing the motor to run more than it should. And on the floor beside that are some objects from our gold mines. We had two kinds of mines in Union. We had gold mines and we had iron mines. The iron mines pretty much were up on the border with what is now Cherokee County, but the gold mines were scattered over the upper part of the county. There were a number of those, and you can read more about those in Dr. Charles's book, Narrative History of Union County. In the bottom of these cabinets here, we still have some of our toys out. Each year in November, December, January, we do a toy display. Some of the toys are new, some of the toys are old, some are ours and some are borrowed. And we have just left this collection of banks out for a few extra weeks, so you might enjoy them. Those will be coming down soon. And we'll be probably displaying some of our dispensary bottles and some of our soda bottles. We have a very rare Union County dispensary bottle, and we have some very unusual soda bottles. Most of the grocery stores did their own bottling, so we have some that are very unique and very interesting. In this cabinet here, we have a little bit of whimsy. It's called Pretties for the Lady of the House. And we have objects in there that range from the Revolutionary period up through the modern day, from the caster sets that were used on the table to serve condiments to a Charleston sweetgrass basket. And in the middle cabinet, we have the Sheriff's Department. We've already asked our new sheriff, Sheriff Taylor, for a picture of him. And we have all the sheriffs beginning with Colonel Macbeth. Now, prior to that, we've not been able to find any pictures, so if you have any pictures of earlier sheriffs, we would love to have them. And these were the leggings that were worn by Rochelle Boyle. His first job in Union was as a highway patrolman, and he wore those leggings to prevent getting his trousers caught in the motorcycle. And these are law enforcement badges and equipment and police batons from all over the United States. In the last case, we have a salute to some of our churches. Probably the centerpiece is this beautiful communion picture. It was out of the original Fair Forest Presbyterian Church. We'd like to know more about that, but the lady who gave it to us said really it came to her husband from his aunt, and both the husband and aunt were deceased, and so she couldn't tell us too much about it except that they were entrusted with the picture when the church closed. This gentleman is Reverend Henry Kuhn. During World War II, he was pastoring Green Street Methodist Church in Union when he was called back into the military to serve as chaplain of the Old Hickory Division. And this is his field communion set, and there's still some wafers in that little case there. This beautiful musical instrument is a marimba, and it was used by Miss Willie Blackwood Cobb to teach music for 42 years in the Lockhart school system. It was one of only 100 manufactured in 1935 by the Dagan Company. Miss Willie was not only an accomplished musician, she was also a teacher's teacher. In fact, one of her students once commented to me that Miss Willie could get music out of a rock. It's composed entirely of wood and pipes and string, and the music that it produces is angelic. It's absolutely beautiful. We're now in the library. This is our research library. And behind the camera, we have a number of open shelves, and anything on the open shelves is available for you to use if you want to do genealogical research, if you want to do military research, if you want to do medical research, or just historical research about Union County. We have not only Union County, but other counties in the state and other states in the nation. So you're welcome to use anything that's in here. Now, the things that are behind the glass are so precious that we handle those very carefully. I want to call your attention to this book here. It's Meal Statistics of South Carolina. I'm afraid that sometimes in Union we're not aware of what a wonderful place Union is. At one time, Union was considered the gem of the upstate. We had 30 doctors to Spartanburg's 3, and when this book was published in 1826 by Robert Mills, you had to pre-order that book. And by pre-ordering, that told two things about you. You had money and you could read. And only Charleston and Columbia ordered more of those books than Union County did. And so Union over time has been a wonderful place, and it still is a wonderful place to live and to raise your family. And we're so proud that here at the museum that we are the safe keepers of Union County history that we want to gather and keep safe and share with you. And I want to tell you a story about something that happened when I came to work at the museum 5 years ago. When I walked in the front door, everything you have seen today and many things you did not see were in boxes sitting on the floor. And I was told by the board of directors that my first job was to pick up everything, give it a name and a number, and put it in our very wonderful computer system that's called Past Perfect. And there were, as I said, there were boxes all over the floor. And one of the things that was in one of those boxes was this little brown book here. Now, some early members of the Historical Society had recorded information about some of our artifacts, but I couldn't find anything for this little brown book. And when I opened it up, on the front page, and can we get a good shot of this, Tim? It says, "This is Miss Arabella Crosby's book, July 22nd, 1864, presented by her brother Stephen Crosby, Company I, 6th Regiment, South Carolina Volunteers." So I knew that this was a Civil War artifact. And as I had been told, I gave everything a number. So since I found this in 2004, that was the first 4 digits. And it was the 45th thing I had found without a number that year. And the last 2 digits indicate the number of items in the collection, and there was only 1. To give you an example, recently we were given a set of china, so the last 4 numbers were 64 because there were 64 pieces. And so I wrote that on the inside front cover in number 2 pencil, which by the way is acid free, and I'm wearing white gloves to keep the acid in my skin off of the book. And thinking maybe the cover might come off at some time in the future, I decided to write it on the inside back page. And when I turn over to the inside back page, lo and behold, there is a note. And it says, "Near Petersburg, Virginia, July 22nd, 1864, dear sister, I send you this testament as a present and trophy captured on the battlefield of the Wilderness, July 5th, 1864, Stephen Crosby." So I knew then that a Confederate soldier by the name of Stephen Crosby from Union had sent his little sister this Bible. And so I put it in the computer, and I made a sign for it, and I put it on the shelf. Well, a few weeks later, Jane Crosby Moore came in, and she said, "Ola Jean, I'd like to loan you my great-grandmother's gold locket that my great-grandfather brought her, or rather gave her, when he came home from fighting in the war between the states." She said, "Their pictures used to be in there, but I've lost hers." And I said, "Well, Jane, who was your grandfather?" And would you believe it was Stephen Crosby? And that's the soldier who sent the New Testament home to his sister. So we're very pleased to have that, as well as the other treasures that are in our museum. And we hope that you'll come to visit us soon, because you've just seen a very small portion of what's here. And as I told you, we rotate some of our exhibits. We have exhibits on loan coming in for information in April next month. We're going to be doing a reenactment, as I told you, of the visit of President Jefferson Davis to the Cross Keys House. We will have wonderful displays and events going on there. In June and July, we do a display of wedding attire, and we have a little lecture we will give, if you so desire, on wedding customs. For instance, do you know why most weddings take place in June? Well, it originated in Europe when they only bathed once a year, and that was in May. And so it seemed that June was the best time to have a wedding. And so we'll share other wonderful little tidbits like that with you. And then around Christmas time, we have the toys, and we have other events and other special speakers coming in. So please come visit us at the museum. We're here Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 9 until 4, on Saturday from 2 until 5, and other times by appointment. And thank you for coming to see us today.